welcome back to Two Dope Black Doulas. I'm Brittany Jones,
And I'm Danielle Watson Murray.
and we're your Two Dope Black Doulas. Today, we are talking on a very important topic
Yes,
about the postpartum period in the fourth trimester and the importance of rest in this
mm,
period. So, I
absolutely.
know Danielle, both and I have children. We've been through postpartum period with our children in some capacity. So talking about our experience, I think, is important. I know there's a lot that happens in that postpartum period that isn't necessarily like up front or on the front street when it comes to like media. A lot of things happen during the postpartum period that we don't necessarily talk about. We see the glorified, version of like babies here and everybody's excited for the baby and all of that. There's a lot, of care and carefulness that needs to be and planning that needs to go into the postpartum period that a lot of people don't necessarily think about or plan about. So we wanted to just highlight that today and talk about that. So I don't know, Danielle, if you want to start off with, talking about your experience.
Yeah. I mean, I am still postpartum now that I think about it. Baby boy is still not a year yet, so I'm about 10, almost 11 months postpartum. And I think something that Brittany and I were talking about that's really important is rest. It's sometimes laughable to have a newborn and you are healing your body, mind, and soul during postpartum, but rest is important, especially as Black mothers. We automatically want to put on the cape and save everyone and keep ourselves last, but you are recovering from literally giving life and you need that time for yourself to rest. And I'm saying this out loud because I need to remind myself that if you have older children and plus you have a newborn, it is difficult to find that rest, but it's also very imperative to make sure you spend that time to rest. And it looks different for everyone. I think my experience is that I had a community. Some other episodes we talked about Brittany being my postpartum doula, so she was helping me with meal planning and meal prep, including my older sister. And then also, it is really helpful to also have partners or doulas who also will come and help out and support you because you need that rest. So if someone is in the kitchen making you a sandwich or two, please sit down with that baby. Please put your feet up. Your body needs to heal because a lot of studies have shown that the postpartum period literally lasts up to 2 years after you have birth, and some up to 7 years.
Yeah,
Wild.
yeah, that's an interesting point because I know in our, society we say like a year after the baby or 6 months,
Hmm.
like women don't necessarily even get their first visit from, following up after the birth until 6 weeks after the baby. But
Right.
postpartum is like, so much longer than a year. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that was a perfect segue. I think we don't remember that enough because once baby is here and past a certain amount of time, especially past, like you said, the 6 weeks or the 8 week checkup, it's all like, oh, she's good to go. She can, go back to regular scheduled programming. And it's like, no, literally, your insides are
Right,
still trying to heal. Go ahead.
right.
No, go ahead. Tell me about that.
I was going to say, not only, physically, but also mentally, things have changed. You have, brought on a new member of your family. So mentally, you're a different person. And I
Yes.
remember I saw a post recently of talking about that, about like, I'm a changed woman. Like after I've had a baby, I'm not that same person that even at that point of
Ooh,
labor, and I'm a different person after going through that process.
that's,
And so that's not really recognized. So mentally, there's some things that I have to take into account
yeah.
mental wise. Like I have another baby. I have other the person that I'm responsible for
Other
that can't
priorities.
necessarily right that
Ooh,
can't take care of themselves. So I might not be for your significant other spouse. I might not be all over you because I'm tired and I've I'm taking care of myself and making sure I'm okay, but also
Okay.
making sure I'm taking care of my child. And if you have multiple children, you're taking care of other children too.
Hello.
So I might not be all lovey dovey and all on you and catering to your needs.
True.
I'm focused on I'm a different person, for sure.
1,000%. I think a lot of things, especially with your background professionally in mental health, I'm sure you've seen it and you can recognize it. It's like, and postpartum depression, that whole stage, that's why we're talking about rest, because I think we automatically are like, oh, they're fine, they're better. She just gave birth a few weeks ago. And no, it can show up, the postpartum depression characteristics can show up throughout that time. It could literally be 8 months into it, and all of a sudden you're feeling something that you didn't feel before. It could be the overwhelming
Right,
feeling, it could be your hormones going back or trying to go back into sync. There are a
right.
lot of items that happen physically, emotionally, and definitely mentally during that time. Stress,
Right.
stress
I
is real.
remember I did a postpartum visit with a client that just recently gave birth. And we were talking about that, about those constant thoughts that she was having. She was like, it was like weird thoughts that I have that I didn't have them before, but she was like, I had to think about, for example, oh my God, outside is growing mold, like, because it's been raining so much. Like, maybe we should clean that up. And she said, people in
Right.
her family were looking like,
What does that matter?
why does that matter? But our hormone shifts and changes in our body once we have a baby, our brain is telling us you're responsible for this other person, and you're responsible for their well-being. We have these like these weird like kind of thoughts of like safety is everything, and we're scanning the environment, is everything
PPA.
safe?
Yes, that postpartum anxiety is definitely real. You're like, what if I literally I experienced it with all my kids. I literally will say I'm holding the baby and I'm going down the stairs. I'm like, oh my gosh, what if one of the twins runs in front of me? I trip and we all go flying down the stairs, and I'm like, I was like, where
Right,
did that come from? Like, what are you talking about?
right,
And I
right.
didn't even know that was a thing until our doula training with Venus,
Hmm.
and we talked about it with so many different mental health professionals, and they were like, PPA is real, and I was like, postpartum anxiety, yes. And it's like, oh my gosh, these are where these thoughts are coming from, kind of similar to what your client was talking about, like a mold, what if it then gets into our lungs? It's like we spiral so quickly because our hormones are literally trying to align with everything going on in our body. So again, we say this and we stress it personally and professionally to our clients, is trying to rest. Sometimes, and a lot of times, we have to put the cape down and be able to give ourselves, pour into, you can't pour from an empty cup, right? So we always got to remember that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And rest is revolutionary, right?
Hello?
Because they want us to believe, I say they as in, whoever
Yes.
whoever you want to insert, but they
Yes.
want us to believe that, we're not deserving of rest. We are, supposed to, you know, do the things and get up and go and support the whole community, support everyone. But we deserve rest too. We
Hello.
deserve to do our labor. And then
Mm-hmm. Right.
labor is titled labor for a reason, right? So
Hello.
rest is revolutionary. And it not only revolutionary from a like power standpoint, but also like it builds healthier people. Like you're healthier
Yes.
if you allow yourself time to rest and get
Exactly.
the rejuvenation that you need to be able to go on. You're not angry and frustrated with your children because you haven't got the rest. You're not
Hello.
yelling at your children, which then or family or whomever, which then doesn't impact their mental health, which then creates them as a healthy being,
Yes.
knowing how to like regulate their emotions and have communications and that. So breast doesn't just impact the person, like for example, giving birth, but it
Right.
also impacts the generation, like your children, their generation, and communities.
Exactly, exactly. And I agree 1,000% because I think a lot of times, especially with clients, they oftentimes do feel that. And I think we both have talked about it, how some clients during postpartum, they're just like, I don't know what's wrong with me. And I'm like, it's a new you, especially with the first time parents. They're like, I don't understand. Like
Right.
they're like everyone was here and I was happy, but I just wanted to cry. Or everyone was here and it's like I just felt like I was doing things that I shouldn't be. And it's like you don't need to host. You can tell people you don't have to come over right now. I'll see you in 3 weeks. The baby thankfully will still be here. We don't have to be able to host or have to feel as though we have to host and get up and clean up. Please leave that. Build your
Mm-hmm.
community beforehand. So that's just a tip I think we give to our clients a lot is build that, just like you're building your birth plan or your birth preference sheet, build that postpartum list ASAP. Have that community come in and on different days. They do different items in the house that you can rest. Like, think
Yeah,
about
I
that.
was gonna say that because that's what I've started doing now with my clients
Okay.
is we build a birth plan, but we also build a postpartum plan. And what does
Yes.
that look like for you postpartum? Who's helping? Because most people have people coming over afterwards, either their mom or the mother-in-law or the other person's parents
Sisters.
coming to
Uh-huh.
support. So what does that support look like though, right?
Right.
Like not coming and just holding the baby, but like are they helping clean? Are they helping make meals? Are they showing you how to do certain things, especially like if you're a new mom, like showing you how
Mm-hmm.
to change diapers or whatever, but really thinking through and being intentional on like
Yes.
those people coming and what that looks like and the support that you need and the support that you're sequestering from those around you.
Exactly. I love that you said being intentional because I think that is where it falls off for a lot of people, for clients as well. It's more of like, oh, everyone was here. We got home a few days after baby. Everyone comes over, everyone texts. And then 2, 3 weeks into it, when you're honestly in the trenches, is what we call it, that's when everyone
Mm-hmm.
goes away. And you're like, that's when I need help.
Right.
Because at this point, my partner and I are, or sometimes by myself, I am working off 3 hours of sleep, and this is the third day in a
Right.
row. You're tired, you're frustrated, and people are just like, "Oh, take a picture of the baby that we can see." Girl,
You know what
no.
I compare that to? And I know like it's kind of switching subjects,
I
but
know
so
what
I
you're gonna
promise I
say.
won't take us down a rabbit hole, but just like when someone
Grief.
passes away, right?
Yes, same. I was like, I know what
So
you're gonna say.
that
Grief.
that whole thing, you look around and you're like, oh my God, I'm by myself. Like, I had this whole house full of people that came to
Yeah.
visit to support me, but now, so like thinking about those long term, sustainability, like who can come around, who can come and check on me, day to day, or who can I reach out to, who can I call when in those moments I'm feeling lonely. But thinking about that in a postpartum way of like, who are the people that I can reach out to that I can count on, that I know if I call and say, hey, I need you to come take the baby, or I need you to
Yes.
come, help me bring me some food because I haven't eaten all day.
Right.
Or could you just watch the baby for like a couple hours while I catch up on sleep? Like who are
Right.
those people that you can reach out to?
Absolutely, absolutely. That made me think. I remember my best friend in New York when she had her second child. We went to see Beyonce a couple weeks after she gave birth. But while I was
Oh
there,
wow.
listen, we already bought tickets. We were like, oh, we're going. But
we
she,
we in there.
we in there. Baby boy was here and he was good. And her oldest daughter was sleeping well, but baby boy was not sleeping well. And I literally was like, give me the baby. She's like, no, no. I'm like, give me the baby and go sleep. Till this day, Christian, he's going to be 10 or 11 this summer. Till this day, she still says, girl, you saved my life when you let me sleep for those 6 hours. I was like, yeah, I literally let her sleep and got back on the plane 20 minutes later. Like, I was just like, you need to sleep. You're not making sense because I know you. And,
Right.
and I think as a community, that's
Yeah. Like offer help. Like I'm not the type, and I'm a person that the person, so you might be dealing with a person that may not want like solicitation of help, but you know me, and I might not voice and say, hey, I'm tired, like you know what I mean, because I will admit I have a hard time sometimes asking for help when I need help. I've definitely gotten better like over the year just because I have to. Like you get to a point where it's like gotta do it. Like you gotta let someone else step in and take over. And it doesn't mean you're less of a person or you're less capable or what have you, but those are lessons that I had to learn. The person that you're working with and you're interacting with that, so like asking me, hey, Brittany, would it be helpful if I just take the baby for a couple of hours? Or would it be helpful if I, go ahead and prepare like dinner or think about what we're having for dinner so that, or go to the grocery store for you? I see you're, just those things. I know I was going to say, one of the things for me, when especially when I gave birth to my daughter during COVID, one of the beautiful things that happened was that it was COVID. It was isolation. We couldn't interact with people, right? So like it allowed time for us to bond, and it gave me time to not like you said, entertain people that are coming over. It gave me time to like really be like, this is what I need. You know what I mean? Like, and people were still supporting from afar. So like it wasn't like I was alone and isolated by myself. Like people knew to like, here's some money to go get dinner for tonight so you don't have to cook, or here, my daughter was born early, so here, I'm gonna send you some preemie clothes so that your baby has clothes and you don't have to take the baby out to the store. But those things were like super super helpful for me and the family, and not, those are things that you don't really think about in the moment, but those were like, looking back on it, like it allowed me to like be with the baby, bond and do the things, and not have to worry about all the societal things that I have to do, like cook and clean and all of that. I commend you. I know I worked with you during your postpartum, but I know that I felt like you had a good support system and plan with the birth of your last child. And I was shocked when I saw your sister walk through the door with a big box of food. Like, yeah, I'm about to prepare meals for Danielle. We're about to knock this out. And I became a sous chef, and it was like, great. Like, yes, let's do this. But you don't see that often in community. And I know there's a different culture wise, right? Because you're, Jamaican American, like your family is from Jamaica, and, I'm African American, so there's a difference culture wise. Well, I want to thank you guys for tuning in to Two Dope Black Doulas. Please tune in for future episodes.